Hello aviators and my beloved mechanics. Welcome to another video on my channel, and this one is starting a new series and it's called Flight Club. First rule of Flight Club, don't talk. In this series of videos, I am making this to help you new guys coming up the ranks on becoming professional working pilots. Now in flight schools, you're not really taught the job. You're really just taught how to fly the aircraft. And everything's about passing those check rides, learning VA, learning stall speed, doing steep turns. Well, one thing that I've noticed is you're not available or you're not around any mentors to really help you on figuring out what the job is that you're training to do. In fact, most all of you are trained by young instructors who do a fantastic job at what they're supposed to do, but they have no working experience. In fact, most of them, being a flight instructor is their very first job, and they excel at doing it. However, I have not seen any books, nor have I seen anybody really coming to your aid in teaching you what it is the job that you're trying to get, that of being a working professional pilot. Now, on my part, I'm a corporate pilot. So I'm going to be talking to you and giving you tips on how to be a corporate pilot. And this is probably 10 times harder than being an airline guy. Now, with the airlines, you see them everywhere. You see Delta, you see American, you see the busy hubs. It's on the TV all the time with the airlines. How about us corporate guys? Us corporate pilots are probably 60 to 80% of the flying jobs out there. Because for every American Airlines, for every Delta, you go out to any airport in this country and you'll find several corporate or Part 91 pilots working. However, you don't see us. We're virtually invisible and we hide on purpose. Our clients demand privacy. That plane is their secret, and we are not supposed to talk about it or talk about our clients' business to other people on the airport or to clients that we're flying. And when you go out to the airport, you won't see any signs, such as wonderful. I think wonderful, of all your nuts and cashews and peanuts at the grocery store, they have a sign just about yo big, just saying wonderful on the hanger. That's it. Most of them don't have any verbiage or any signage, anything like that. So unless you know they're operating there, you'd never know. Another aspect is, think about it. Every company has their own private flight department, such as Taco Bell. Amazon has a great big huge flight department now. Any car dealership, a guy that owns a couple of gas stations, a law office that's successful will have a King Air. Even car dealerships, of just a couple of car dealerships, they have a plane or two and a pilot or two on staff. So you can see just by doing the numbers, 80% of the work out there is going to be a corporate pilot. How do you train to be a corporate pilot? Well, that's what this series is for. So on here, I would like to just mention that when I was coming up the ranks, the airport was filled with World War II guys. They were great mentors. You had people that have worked in World War II as a mechanic, gotten shot at, gotten shot down, and served our country with great honor. These people lost friends, they lost loved ones, they sacrificed greatly. And their attitude at the airport and what they did for the new people was amazing. The airport was a magical place when I was starting out. I couldn't wait to get off work to go out to the airport just to be around these people. Unfortunately, the atmosphere has changed with their passing. And now you don't really see any mentors because we just live in different worlds. When you're at the airport, you're on the flight line at the flight school among 172s, among the Sling aircraft, among, the Piper Archers. We, on the other hand, are at the big expensive FBOs. We're at the Signatures. We're at Atlantic Aviation. That's where we live. And those two worlds don't mix at all. Also, when we're out at the airport, we're fatigued. We're usually up at 2 or 3 in the morning for a 6 to 7 a.m. flight. We're dead tired. When we're en route, it's just hitting the pilot lounge, getting some sleep before the next flight. So we're really not in the mood to mentor or even talk to anybody. So this whole series is just designed to try to bridge that gap a little bit and give you guys some info. So on this one, I would just like to briefly talk about don't talk. The biggest threat to your career as a pilot is not breaking the FARs. It's not shooting an approach correctly. Those things are just standard, and they come easy when you're a working pilot. The biggest danger that you have is your mouth. Your mouth will get you in the greatest amount of trouble and get you fired quicker than anything else on that airport. So when you're at the airport and you're working and you're on duty, start practicing now your speech discipline. When someone comes up and talks to you, and especially if you don't know them, be courteous. Talk about the weather. Better yet, get them talking about themselves. Do not talk about you, what you're doing, what company you're working for, where your flights are going, who you're flying, that kind of thing. Boy, if that information gets back to your employer, you're on standby. You're on standby. And we've all heard about being on standby. And that can happen to you in a heartbeat. Remember that most of the people at the airport are good people. They're really good people. But the 2% that aren't good people, boy, they're highly effective. They are super effective at causing problems and causing derision and making your life impossible. So the best way to avoid this is just don't talk. Now, another thing when you're a corporate pilot, you are flying the middle managers and the boss of the company. Now, these middle managers, they actually hate each other. But it's all smiles and giggles when they're around each other. So it is kind of hilarious. Kind of like being on a sitcom, only it just goes on all the time. So when you're flying these guys, one of the managers will start trash talking one of the other managers and telling you problems that need to be fixed and that the boss needs to know. The boss already knows, and it's not your place to get involved in company politics. You're the pilot. That's what you need to do. But as young guys, nobody has told you this. These managers will set you up and use you as a pawn in their game. They will tell you bad news or things the other managers are doing that the boss wouldn't like and how the boss really needs to know. So you as a young pilot, thinking you're being helpful, go up to the boss. Because remember, you're a new employee at the company and yet you have direct immediate access to the boss of the company. That's how high up you are on the food chain. So these guys will use you. You'll run your mouth and copy what some manager told you. So that boss, being a boss, will call you, that manager, the manager you just talked about, all together in a meeting. And believe me, as a pilot, that's one of our biggest fears is, can you join us for a meeting? Use a sick day if you get that one. If you get that call, say, yeah, COVID. And start coughing your brains out. But you'll end up in this meeting, and then the manager that told you all this will deny he said a thing, that you just made it all up. Then the manager that you talked about will talk about how you're a divisive little prick. He's not being wrong. So you'll be defamed right there, and then the manager will look at you and go, "What's your excuse for saying this?" Well, if you have any common sense, you'll just say, I don't know, sir. I have to get ready for my next flight. That's what you should say. Because you're going to look down and find out that your trousers have just dropped to your ankles and you're all alone. But you're not really all alone. There's just a line forming. Let's give you a minute to get that visualization out of your mind. Okay, let's move on. So that's where you're going to be if you fall into that trap. Now, another trap is when you're flying the company's clients, the salesmen, the politicians, and the other members of other company that they might be in competition with. They will not talk to the captain because they know the captain will shut them down right away. What they'll do is go to you as a young first officer and start asking innocent questions, just fun-loving questions. Hey, where do you fly to all the time? Where do you mostly go to? Who do you fly? Hey, how much do this guy make? Hey, what are they planning on this? Are they talking to other competitors? And you see, you think it's all laughter, giggles, and hey, they just think you're great because you're a pilot. Boy, when that information gets back to the boss that you talked about that's another call, standby. We'll call you. Call me maybe. I think I should play that song now. But anyways, those are two traps, and the first in the series of Don't Talk. Now remember, learning how to engage in speech discipline is going to take time. This is like doing touch and goes. So to practice this, I recommend two things. That at the airport, look for opportunities where you can talk about another pilot, where you can talk about a business. And practice changing the subject. Changing the subject to whoever you're talking about, or to whoever you're talking to. Ask them about their life and what they're doing and what's going on with them. And remember that people are always fascinated with themselves. And if you can get them talking about themselves, then you're out of the equation. You can just stand there until you can escape somehow. So that's one way. Another way is just to say, oh gosh, I would love to stay here and speak to you. I got to prepare for my flight. I have stuff I have to do. Please excuse me. That's the best one, especially when you're on the corporate flight line and one of these guys are cornering you to get information. That one looks wonderful, or works wonderful. To give you an example, I had one manager come up in the cockpit of the plane when I was flying in the middle of nowhere in Mexico. That manager came up. He was hot mad about somebody else, but we were there and we're the only ones to pick on. So he comes up there in the cockpit, sticks his head up there, and starts laying into me. I mean, he's just chewing off chunks of me. In between all the spittle and the grunts and the groans and the growls, I look over at my first officer, who I have briefed on how to conduct himself and to stay out of this stuff. I was kind of hoping he would say or do something so the guy would turn on him and leave me alone. Oh no, this was a good first officer. I'm going to talk about him again in later videos. But what he did was he just started tuning in a VOR. There wasn't a VOR within 100 miles any direction. But boy, he was spinning that OBS and he was trying to get that needle centered, and he kept doing it for about 15 minutes until the manager got tired. Remember, these managers, they're in their 50s, 60s, 70s that you're flying around. They get tired pretty fast. So weather the storm. It's like a thunderstorm. Just wait it out. In 10, 15 minutes, they're going to have their hands on their knees, panting, and then they're just going to go rest and have a drink. Okay? So that's my best words of wisdom. And that was the best first officer tactic I've ever seen. He left me high and dry, and he was searching for that VOR, but no signal was there. So I appreciated that guy. So now, on this, I would like to ask for your help. If you would like to support this channel, I offer these flight patches. And on these flight patches, let me get my flight jacket. So now on these flight jackets, with these flight patches, I do them for free. They are free. Just email me to get which one you want. I do ask for a donation if you can afford it to help support the channel and support me in my efforts to make aviation better for you guys. But on these, they actually have a Velcro backing that comes off so that you can change the patches according to how you feel. So this one, here's the Hartzell propeller, Teflon props. We don't stick by you. So if you feel like you kind of have a feathered propeller there and it went into the dirt and everyone said that you crashed it, well, that's the patch for you. But if, on the other hand, you're feeling like green eggs and ham, then you can have the FAA Drug Abatement Bloody Scours Feral Hogs, and you can put that one on. Then, if you're feeling like you're trapped, I have one about being a POW, a prisoner of war camp, on your own airport. So these patches, I make them up for fun. They are expensive to make, but they're yours for the asking. Please send in an email and I'll be glad to send one off to you, one or two off to you. Anyways, another way that you can help support the channel is that if you'd like to get any multi-engine training going into Class Bravo airports or advanced cross-country training, border crossings, that kind of stuff that you can't get out of normal flight school, please contact me. I have a Seneca 2. It's $500 an hour wet, and we can go up into Vegas. We can go down to San Diego International, go to the Gaslamp District and get a nice dinner. We can go to San Francisco and go up to Napa and see the grape vineyards up there. So anyways, that's another way. And then if you would like to hire me for your flight review, once again, I work just for donations, but if you can put together a group of people for doing flight reviews at your local airport, I'd be more than happy to fly out to where you are, do the flight reviews, and then talk to your group of people, no matter how small or large, about the issues that are facing aviation and the steps that we're taking to fix them. With that being said, I would like to just say God bless, keep flying speed, peace.